Hey guys, today I figured I'd make an update video to my Legacy of Phrecia League starter, which is Ice Crash of Cadence, Paladin. I made some changes to the build from the League start video, and I just finished getting all my Voidstones, so I think I can talk a little bit more about the build now that I've actually gotten to play it. So one big difference from if you watch the League starter video, I decided to go for Dance with Death for a little bit better crit. And Legacy of Fury is actually really good for clearing, because the skill lacks a little bit in clearing ability without explosions, I would say. And another thing that I've noticed about the build, which is kind of annoying, is the ramp for getting your summon elemental relics. It can be kind of annoying on bosses like the Maven, where it's a lot of start and stop and you have to ramp every time. It can be kind of annoying. So overall, the build has been okay. As a League starter, I mean, I've gotten my Voidstones now, and yeah, it's been okay. But it's not the best League starter, but not the worst as well. It's a pretty straightforward melee, elemental build, so it does scale pretty well. I've invested probably maybe 3 or 4 divines at this point, so not a lot, but for the end game you'll want the Saviour, which is probably going to be pretty expensive in this league, because the progression has been pretty slow for, I think, a lot of people. It's Sunday now, and I just got my Voidstones, so we'll see. It's going to take a lot of time for people to get to Ubers and start getting Saviour drops, so who knows when that will be. But yeah, I'll just go over the gear, the passives, and the gems, everything. If you want to know how to level the build, I suggest you go check out the League starter video. But I'll go pretty much over the entire endgame character in this video. So starting off with the gear, I'm using Paradoxica in main hand and Dream Feather in offhand. We don't have that much evasion, so Dream Feather isn't like doing a ton of work, but the way Ice Crash of Cadence works is so you hit really hard with the main hand, 80% more damage, and the offhand you get a lot bigger radius. So you can essentially use your offhand as a little bit of a stat stick, and then your main hand is going to be doing most of the damage. That's why the Saviour is so good for the offhand, because it doesn't have a lot of damage on its own, but adds a lot of damage to the build. Dream Feather is just an okay cheap option, because we do have a bit of evasion, but really not a lot. So you can also just kind of replace it with a good rare weapon as well. But yeah, we're going Paradoxica with a crit and fist damage. Pretty cheap, even this early in the league. Dream Feather is pretty much free, so very cheap weapons. Then I'm not using a helm, because I'm using Dance with Death for more crit. Our crit was kind of low to begin with, so this helps with that. But obviously you lose some defense and some survivability. So no helm, you can just use anything you want with empty sockets to level in there, but it doesn't do anything. And then the rest of the gear is rare, except I've got Mark of the Elder. Gotta get some quality on this as well. Yeah. So that requires your other ring to be Shaper. That's just one thing to keep in mind. And then the rest of the gear is just rares. You want, obviously resistance, chaos res, some suppression where you can get it. We are just using Lucky Suppress. Maybe in the late end game, that's one upgrade you could do, is try to get 100% suppress, but for now we're just going lucky. And yeah, pretty basic rares. Chaos res, life. That's pretty much, obviously cap elemental res, some movement speed on the boots. Like I said, for clearing, Legacy of Fury is really good, but then you're losing even more life and probably some resist. It's gonna be hard to cap your chaos res without the boots as well. So, but you don't necessarily need capped chaos res. Belt, just getting some elemental damage is nice, but yeah, pretty basic rares. For the implicits, fish taken as any elemental is good on the chest. That's pretty much the only mandatory one. Even that one, you could, for example, get Fortify, and then you could replace the Fortify gem. But yeah, I'll go over the gems now. That's pretty much the gear. So of course we got Ice Crash of Cadence, Inspiration, Multi-Strike, Elemental Damage with Attacks, Trinity, and Fortify. So like I said, Fortify, you could get Fortify on the implicit on the chest, and then use like crit damage multi maybe instead. Trinity, we get Trinity because we essentially get so much flat damage from these elemental relics. They just give us like auras like Anger, Wrath, and Hatred. And we Ice Crash has 100% Fizz to Cold anyway, so we need those summoned in order to get getting the Trinity. But yeah, that's the main links pretty much. Then we have Assassin's Mark with Mark on Hit. I have Life Tap. You don't really need it. We are a little bit gem starved because we are missing the helm, so you'll have to make some choices for where you want certain supports. Basically, yeah, like right now I'm not running faster attacks on my Leap Slam, for example. So I'm just running a Leap Slam together with Life Tap here, and then also in the same links Molten Shell with get some damage taken, also with the Life Tap. The reason you want to Life Tap some of this is because when you're running a Tincture, you're going down to 0 mana sometimes, and you want to make sure the Molten Shell goes off, or the Leap Slam goes off. So that's why, but you don't necessarily have to. Like, you could use faster attacks as well in this link instead of the Life Tap, maybe. Or remove this Life Tap. You know, I don't know exactly what's the min-max, but yeah. Then I also have Frost Blink as a secondary movement skill. Precision with Arrogance. Enduring Cry. When we press this, we get full endurance charges because we have infinite power. It would be nice to have urgent orders on here to make it faster, but yeah, like I said, a little bit of socket pressure here. Then we have Blood and Sand to switch between stances. You get bigger AoE in sand stance, and then when you're clearing, you're pretty much running around in sand stance, and then switching to blood stance when you're on a boss or on a tough rare. And we have Blood Rage and Determination. And we are using Grace as well as an aura, but we get that from the Ascendancy. So I think that's everything for the gems. Let's go on to the passive tree. So the passive tree is looking like this at level 93. Not using any keystones other than the Dance of Death, which comes from a Brutal Restraint jewel with you want it to be of Asenath in order to get this. I also have a cluster jewel. So this one I bought a couple days ago when there was like none of them up. I just bought it and crafted it myself and just wanted it to make a quick one. So it only has one notable on it. This is something I gotta fix, of course. Like, but yeah, preferably you would want like 3 or at least 2 notables on it. So Blood Scent and whatever else. Blood Scent is what gives us Rage. So that's the only mandatory one, but you obviously want a better cluster than this. And then the second cluster is a medium for non-damaging ailments, which gives you Storm Rider, which is how you're going to generate power charges. And then if you were higher level, you could get another medium cluster. Right now, it's only day 2 or 3 of the league, depending on how much you sleep, I guess. So I'm not min-maxed by any means. So I still got some bad jewels and some bad clusters. Things I need to fix, but yeah. The important part about the cluster is Blood Scent and Storm Rider. The rest of the tree is just looking like this. If you go to the League Starter video and check out that POB, I have a tree where you're running precise technique, even in the start of mapping. Basically, until you get Paradoxica with crit, you're using something like Rebuke of the Wall, and that's gonna be better to use precise technique with. And then you move on to crit a little bit later. I have here Light of Meaning with life, just because I felt my life was really low. This gives us like 200 life or something like that. So just a decent tanky option. It was like 30C right now. This was like 40C. The other jewels are just pretty bad random jewels that has sword stuff. Obviously you would want like a Watcher's Eye or something. A Watcher's Eye, maybe a Flame and Flesh as well. If you had you would, maybe with something from Champion or something. There's one that gives you 100% chance to taunt, which is kind of nice for this Bring the Battle, to get permanent taunt uptime, so 20% increased damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the passives. For the Ascendancy, we have Light of Divinity, and then Elemental Valiance. So they take more damage, and this one is what gives us all the auras. And then we have level 30 Grace from this. It's just called Grace. And then Bring the Battle gives us infinite power to just fill up your endurance charges. And if you can actually keep the target taunted, you deal also more damage. But the only way to get good uptime on taunt is with the Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh for one of the champion ascendancies. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Ascendancy, the passives. We went over the gear and the gems. Not much else to say, I think. It's been a decent starter. Like I said, check out the League Start PoB for the leveling trees and early mapping trees. I'm not sure if I'll make another update video. If you want to push it further into the end game, like I said, it would be with the Saviour, and then probably defensively just trying to cap suppress, and of course Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh, Watcher's Eye, stuff like that. Maybe a different Light of Meaning, but I don't want to go on for too long. I guess the Flasks also haven't put too much effort here, but yeah, you want obviously an instant bleed removal flask. I'm running a Jade Flask because we do scale with evasion right now, but if you get the Saviour, you wouldn't care so much about that. But evasion is always nice. Quartz Flask for some suppress and facing, and then Quicksilver to move fast. And then for your tincture, melee weapon speed is good, pen is good, crit is good. I think that's it. Maybe I'll make another video, maybe not. I'm kind of enjoying this event, but it's a little bit weird. I'm not loving the idle stuff, but all the new classes is cool. Maybe I want to try out something else. I'll probably try some TS17s and stuff like that on this guy as well, but yeah, we'll see. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.